When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and it has just been a whirlwind lately. Holy crap. I mean, it is summer. I don't even know where spring went. Felt like the flowers came out and then it got too hot because I live in Arizona. And I'm excited to be bringing on a guest today. So our last episode, we dove in a lot on integrative healing for business growth and why every single one of us here on earth need to focus on healing the inside out, trauma, childhood, all of those things. But today we're going to be talking about this shift process. And this shift process is really going to assist you in understanding probably more of self-development. It's going to help you understand how to view and be abundance in the world. And we have Angela Ferrari here to really dive in and tell us how she came up with this shift process, what it did for her in her life, where she is now, how she's added amazing music to that. I can't wait to hear that part. That's going to be the exciting part for me. I mean, we're on episode 169. So ladies, we're just flying through this, and I'm excited that Angela's here. But first, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's show, Ally Spine Center. And what sets their office apart from other offices is their focus and expertise in treating degenerative spinal conditions, including disc disease, bulging herniated disc, spinal stenosis, neuropathy, sciatica pain, tingling and numbness in the arms, hands, feet, and legs, as well as severe and chronic neck pain and headaches. That all sounds awful. They specialize in corrective care. So not just the treatment of the symptoms. That's what I love about it. They get to the root of the cause with physical medicine modalities. And in many cases, they use pre and post images for an integrative corrective care office. So if you don't live in the Arizona area, that is fine. Please contact Ally and Chris at 480-809-4700 or allyspinecenter.com because they know of integrative care offices throughout the nation that can assist you in getting the care that you need. And let me tell you, if you're dealing with anything, you definitely want to go get someone that's going to work on the root of the problem and not just keep giving you medications to treat the symptoms. That's not going to help you. And maybe even today we'll learn a little bit about how you need to shift if you are in some pain or feeling like things in your life aren't going exactly the way that you've expected them to go. So like I said, Angela Ferrari is here, and she is a professional singer, speaker, and the founder of the Shift Process, consisting of concerts, speaking engagements, workshops, retreats, and online courses around the deeper meaning of life. I can't believe we have 2 back-to-back episodes that just keep diving deeper into this subject. She's been singing and practicing energy healing since she was a young girl and went on to study music, psychological self-development, energetic healing, and channeling while on a journey of self-discovery. Ferrari stumbled upon a very unique formula that allowed her to experience heightened levels of freedom, which translated into abundance into the world around her. So she began to obtain the goals she set for herself by shifting something internally first. This is where I'm super excited, Angela. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I need some stories. I got to understand. Take us back a little bit. Why, when you stumbled upon that, you said you were on a journey of self-discovery. So what was going on in your life? How old were you? Why did you decide that you needed to go on this journey of self-discovery for yourself?
Well, I mean, I could say that maybe that was fate, in that for as long as I remember, I was I looked at things in a deeper way. I'll watch videos of myself when I was a kid, and it'll just be kind of amusing to me that not much has changed. So, however, having said that, I don't know that that's something special. I feel that that really is the deepest aspect of all of us, because, we can chase all these things externally, but we're always going to come back to that point that's not it. It's something deeper within me. I'll give you a small side story. My great grandfather on his deathbed, the final thing that he said was, "Everything is nothing." And it was chilling to me, because I believe he said that because he was always just sort of going through what he thought he should be or should do, and making things important that were of no value, really. And so it's deeply in all of us. And I don't believe we have to wait till our deathbed to have that grand epiphany that there's something more profound than just chasing these external goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we're talking about something more profound, you went on that journey because you wanted to discover more of yourself and who you were. And what were you looking for specifically? Do you remember what you were looking
Yeah,
for
sure.
specifically?
Well, I really, at an early age, was placed in a lot of contrast. And what do I mean by that? Difficulty. I had difficulty in my family home. I had difficulty in school, being bullied by a lot of girls. And so there was a lot of like facing these deep beliefs that I wasn't enough. And I feel like at the root of it all, you can create empires on top of the belief that I'm not enough. Once I get this, then I'll finally be. Once I finally do this, then I'll be. And I had all of these magnifications outside of myself that really kept confirming this belief that, wasn't conscious, subconscious, but that I wasn't enough. And so therein lied my, we'll call it adventure, because I don't view myself as a victim in any way. I mean, genuinely, I know that had to occur in that way for me to begin to understand these deeper insights. And so it was always just a deep curiosity of the human experience. And I would look into my own behaviors and different people's behaviors and relationships and all of these things that we're sort of born into. And you say, hey, this is how it is. And you go, oh, okay, great. So about this age, I go to college, and about this age, I'm supposed to have a job. And if I'm a woman, for sure, family about this point. And then you're just like, that's what's so. And in fact, if you jump outside of those things, then they go, hey, what's going on with you? What's wrong? Why is that? Well, we need to get you married, don't we? And then I feel like maybe at a young age, that's why I just kept going, but why? Why? What if I don't want to go down that road? What if I just want to sing? And then my dad would be like, well, 401k, have you ever heard about that? I don't think singing is going to get you there. So you need to figure that out and let us know when you're done with this little hobby. And therein lies my journey, my exploration. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because we're up against this big thing.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like it's almost like brainwashing. Like everybody believes in it. It's what you're taught since you were young. And I just remember, I was taught exactly like you grow up, you have a baby, and you get a family and blah, blah, blah. And then I watched my dad leave and my parents get divorced. And I was like, oh, hell no. No, not happening. Like,
yeah,
I just watched my mom crumble to oblivion. And I thought, well, and that was like, that also affected me because it was like, if I put that much love in someone, am I going to crumble if they leave? Is that going to be me? And then it just became this layer after layer after layer of protecting myself so that I couldn't get hurt, which obviously was the wrong road to go down. I've done a lot of healing since then, but I believe you're right. We're just kind of sold this book of goods that's like, it should be like this.
Yeah.
And when you don't do that, everyone thinks there's something wrong with you.
Right. The conformity, The consensus of conformity believes there's something wrong.
Right.
And let's look at the part where you put the layers of protection. I believe I did that as well, but I believe that serves us to a point, that we as young beings utilize that for survival, as not to conform, because we need sort of that. I was a rebel. And a lot of people would try to do it this way, and I'd be like, no, don't tell me how to do it. And sure, did I need to harmonize those things when I no longer needed it in that way? Yes. But I can also see I needed it at a certain time in my life. It didn't matter if it didn't look pretty. I still needed it because it protected me from conformity.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you said the way you were as a child is really similar to the way you are today. Really, not much has changed. So what happened that you stumbled upon the shift process? What is that? Talk to us about what that is and what happened.
Question. Such a good question. Well, I believe that when we're aligned with our truth, which is basically as not to conform, we all have our own very unique, we'll call it snowflake code, because we are literally like that. And so in that aspect, comparison becomes quite almost humorous, because nobody could come in the vicinity of you ever. It just doesn't exist. So, and I believe that typically when we do start aligning with that deeper and deeper truth, because of courage, usually it takes courage to keep going in your own truth versus like, no, do it like this, and you keep marching on, then I believe we stumble upon what we become. I never think it looks like, here's what I want to be. I want it to look like this. I think the universe kind of laughs and goes, it's not going to look anything like that. So to start it off like that, I really just wanted to be a singer. I mean, I loved performing. I finally made it out of, I did dabble in sort of the corporate world and wanted to make my parents proud. And I'm doing it now. And I was successful at a very young age. But I just knew, I don't have any light in my eyes. There's one high after another high. Ooh, new dress. Ooh, cool car. Ooh, and it just never sustained. It was just like this flat thing. And so one day out of nowhere, I booked a trip to Bali. And my parents were like, are you crazy? You can't go to Bali by yourself. And I just booked the trip and I went by myself. And when I came back, I quit everything. And so I took a courageous route, because I was like, I want to sing. And I gave up everything too. I'm not making that easy, but the trade was worth it, because I couldn't believe that they gave me a check after something I would have done for free all day long. I was just like, wow, nobody told me this was real. Nobody told me that. So then from there, even though I started broke, I didn't care. The light was way better than all that stuff. I wasn't starving. I wasn't going to die. I just had to let go of a lot of material attachments for a moment. But then I started attracting things based on that vibration of me, that truth of me, because we can attract things based on the mask, which I was still attracting things over there. A lot of things. I just wasn't fulfilled. And I don't believe we ever will be. You'll end up like my great grandfather if you do that, which is okay. You get it at some point. And so therein lied my journey, where I just started singing. And honestly, I began to attract different ways of abundance through there. And I wouldn't have ever even thought that. It's just things would come to me, conversations would come to me. And then lo and behold, one day I was on my own journey and I had accomplished so many goals in the singing world. I was kind of known in the valley to sing and doing a lot of things people said I couldn't do. And I wanted to know, what's next for me though? What's that? And I don't want to get comfortable here, because therein lies the same program again when we get comfortable. But what's separating me from the things that I feel like, whoa, that's a great big star over there, but I'm just little me. Where's that gap for me? And when I started exploring that, it was really selfish. I wanted to go on my own, like, let me see how I can grow. And from that journey, I discovered something like a formula, and I saw it. I mean, it was so visible to me, like, wow, I was intentional about this, and then here I am. And then I heard something so clear one day. You're not supposed to keep this to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started sharing it. And I took a few people in a group, because I wanted to, I like to ground things in formulas and in science, because I believe that that's how you bring we'll say, I'll get a little woo on you, heaven onto earth. Ground it. Because you hear people, and we've probably done it ourselves. When you get a little too woo-woo, you get a little far away, and you go, okay, pull it back onto earth now. Ground yourself so we can connect with you. So I wanted an actual formula. This is what, it's not just for women, it's for men and for women. And men particularly, they like the formula aspect, grounded. I get real. And so I studied it, and I took people in test group, and I got data from all of this. And I'm like, okay, this is clearly a formula that works and has to deal in the world with frequency. I don't just like to say frequency because it's a popular word. I like to code it and say, here's why.
It is so true. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast. Wherever you're vibrating that frequency, you attract people, places, things, and events on that frequency, wherever you are vibrating.
Yeah.
And that is why a lot of people that are vibrating at a very low frequency stay there, because they just keep attracting. It's like, have you ever noticed that everything goes wrong and they just keep attracting crap, and that they're just on that frequency. But what I hear you saying is, it doesn't matter where we feel we are vibrating, where our frequency is, what's going on in our lives, we can shift. We can change.
100%.
Yeah.
It's all, if we're not shifting, it's simply, very simply, a misunderstanding. And once we begin to understand, now there's still the embodiment, which is why it takes wild courage. It is rare. You have to get that, but you're rare. You're rare.
Oh, I know I'm rare. I know I'm like a unicorn. I always like,
and when
I'm
people
just like
start
some unicorn. Yeah.
Absolutely. And everybody has, we'll even call it their own unicorn code. You're rare.
They do.
And there's a reason why it's uncommon. There's a reason. You have to you can't intellectualize yourself into that, which is why I designed what I designed. And because a lot of times people feel shame when they notice, like they get in conversations around this and they're like, oh, that's me. And let me turn that off, because how shameful. You're talking about, oh, you overcame it. And listen, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a constant journey into the unknown. Always. The soul always wants the unknown. And no matter where you are and how far you've come, your humanity's always going to be drawn to the known. Yeah. And there you are again, back in that thing again. Yeah, if we stay drawn to the known. Yeah. So no matter where you are, I promise you, it's just one understanding, like from the depths of your soul, like, oh, I get that, away from your own shift.
Yeah. Tell us about the concert series that you developed, the Deep Feels. What was that? Why did you do that? Was this after you had now created the formula? Now you knew what the shift formula was, and then you integrated your singing with that? Is that what you did?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And what was interesting is I was always sort of like, there was two separate worlds of me. The shift process, actually, I was the secret weapon, because I never publicized this thing that I did, but I worked with a lot of, pretty known people that helped them to step in who they are. It's not me, it's who you are.
Absolutely.
I just see it with you.
Yeah.
Right. So I had that whole thing going, and it was great. And then I also was doing a lot of things on the music end, which was just regular concerts. I have my own music, and I was loving all of that, and I wanted to tour. And then COVID happened, which I believe was an opening for deeper awakening for all of us, if you choose to grab that opportunity. So while I was sent into a little bit of a dark night of the soul, man, was that such a beautiful, what the dark night of the soul is really like the soul actually loves that. because we're sent into the unknown. And so we don't get all that predictable stuff anymore. But from there, in that empty space, I saw the collide of the two worlds. And I saw that what happens, music is a frequency. And when we code the music, just like we can code water, right? We have all the scientific evidence now. So it is valid and proven that if you sit with water and you pour in these beautiful intentions with your feelings, and you look at that water in a microscope, it's the most beautiful form that it creates. And vice versa, if you talk shit to the water or whatever you need to do, it's distorted, right? So we can look at music that way. And if rather than just, it's still wonderful, just sing great, wonderful, but we can actually code the music with these very specific intentional frequencies, and then they get sent out. So my whole creation, and of course I have beautiful people that surround me that help bring these things to life, is that I get you positioned and available to receive. And then all that's created very intentionally slaps you in the soul. Soul slapper. And I feel like we need that. Not just like gently nudge you, oh, did you have a good time? No. I want it to feel like, whoa, that felt like a lot. Like, yeah, good.
Yeah. Super deep. Do you want, I didn't ask you this before we got started, but did you want us to hear your voice? And
you can anywhere, it's online.
Like, it is.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
Where would we find that? Where
all
would we
streaming
find that?
Platforms everywhere. Okay. Yeah. Angela Ferrari.
Okay.
Yeah. The most recent EP, which is a small, shorter album, is called The Crown. We did a huge event at Scottsdale Arts where it was really like Deep Feels is where it started, where it's very intimate and you're sitting there and just feeling deeply into the music. And then the vision grew and it had all the bells and whistles to it with the visuals and the lighting and the performers that would come in as the song was being sang. And so you could deeply feel on all sensory levels. And the latest EP was the embodiment of that, called The Crown. So that's the most spiritual component to the music yet, and it's always evolving.
Okay. Well, I really hope that you take the stage in March here in Arizona at the Empower and Elevate conference, and I would love to hear you sing. So please bring that to the conference from stage, because I think all of the women would love to hear a little bit of the deep feels from your concert series, so that they could feel that as well while they were present in the moment at the conference. I know that would be amazing. So where should everyone connect with you, Angela? Where's the best place for them to, like you said, all the streaming platforms? Angela Ferrari is where they find your music, but how would you like them to connect with you in other platforms?
Sure. Angela Ferrari Official is my Instagram if you're on Insta. And then shiftprocess.com is for all of the workshops and things. And then, of course, I have angelaferrari.com for music and things like that.
Okay, great. All right. Well, you guys know exactly how to get in touch with Angela. And Angela, thank you so much for taking us down the road and helping us understand. That way we can relate to really see how we too can shift if we take the right steps. Because I mean, in the end, we're the only you that's ever been. We're the only us that's ever going to be, right? Like you said, we're snowflakes. They each have their own individual print, or unicorns is how I like to call them. And you're different. You're different. So you already know it. You feel it. You know your difference. Don't try and fit in with everybody else, but really look at what small shift is it going to take for you to really be able to embrace why you're different, and then open up that world like we talked about in episode 168. We're talking about it now in episode 169, to really open up that world of joy and love and abundance and ease. Don't you just feel like, Angela, like you're happy and it's easy?
I absolutely know how to access that. Yeah, absolutely. And there are definitely moments where I have my moments. I just have a choice.
Yeah. We all have a choice. I
Yes.
love that you said that. We'll close it out with that today and thank Angela for being on the show. And for all of you out there, don't forget, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.